One, we are now live.
Good evening, everyone. Present here for the YouTube live session today for the ATL Marathon. Welcome to all the students, teachers, mentors who are present with us today. This is a very special session because we got a lot of questions from all of you regarding how can you participate, how many team members you should have, and what other ideas that you can submit. So we asked all of you to share your questions with us using a Google form, and we all of you shared more than 100 questions with us. And right now, me, Ronak, and Naba from my team, we will be taking up all these questions and answering them today. Towards the end of the live, we will also take some live questions through the comment section if there is some time. So, how we have distributed the questions is that there are some general category questions just about how to participate in marathon, what it is all about. And then we have questions on ideation. What are
It is
the
live
types
से
of
अभी है ना?
innovations that you can submit for the marathon? And the third category is about the submission form itself. There are some questions about the video that you need to submit, how to do research, and the survey. So each of us are going to take up these three categories. So let me start with the general category questions that I received from all of you. So for example, one of the students asked me, how can I add a student from a non-ATL school into my team? So in the application form, there is a letter which you can download. In this letter, you can specify the name of your ATL team members and the non-ATL school team members, if you have any. And the principal from both the schools, the ATL school and the non-ATL school, will have to sign and stamp and upload that letter so that we know that there is a student from a community school or a non-ATL school. This is how you can participate with a non-ATL school team member. Then there are questions on if the ATL lab is not yet working and you're still installing and fitting in the fitting stages, then how can you enroll for the ATL Marathon? So we all know that even if a lab is set up right now or it is not set up, the access to ATLs is very difficult given the pandemic. You're not able to go to your school or innovate with the machinery that you have there, the equipment that you have there. So we are encouraging digital prototypes. We are encouraging you to go through the modules we have on gaming, on artificial intelligence, on any other tech that is available online for you to use. And you're free to use any of these to make apps or softwares or websites or any digital solution as well. So that is open, and that's how you can still participate in ATL Marathon, even if your ATL lab is not ready yet. Um, I got a question on whether you can participate without a team and individually. So I would like to say that no, you cannot participate individually. You will have to participate in a pair, that is two students or maximum of three students in one team. You can be a part of multiple teams and submit multiple innovations or ideas on I got a question from a teacher saying that is it a must that every school should send in at least 10 entries or 25 entries like Mr. Ramanan and we have been requesting through the Google form and emails. So it is not mandatory to have 25 innovations. However, if you submit 25 innovations, your school will be specially recognized and your students will also be recognized. But we understand that in the pandemic, it is difficult to submit so many ideas. So we urge you to submit as many innovations as you can. The more, the better. You increase your chances as well to be in the top teams for the marathon. So it is not mandatory or compulsory. And if you submit less than 10 or 25, that doesn't matter. We will still consider your entry as valid. But we encourage more ideas and more submissions. And we also are getting questions on how many minimum groups can participate in ATL Marathon from a school. So there is no minimum number of groups or teams that can participate. We can have as many number of teams, but there is a criteria on the team size. It can be either two or three people. How can we register in the ATL Marathon? So this is a very basic question, and as you can see on your screen, there is the application link which is available. We will be sharing this on all WhatsApp groups after this live session. But you can find the application link on the AIM Atal Innovation Mission website. On the top banner, you will be able to see a ATL Marathon banner. You can just click on it and it will take you to the application portal, where you will also be able to see problem statements that are available, from which you can choose one or more and start innovating. Should we make a separate Google upload for each of the 25 projects is what was another question. Yes, you have to submit each of your ideas in a separate application and a separate submission. Only then they'll be counted as separate teams. Even if one team has multiple ideas that you want to submit, you will still have to multiple times submit the idea on the application portal. We also got a question which was on the ATL dashboard. A school is facing trouble in ATL dashboard, and we understand that many of you are facing this issue in logging into the dashboard. This is a problem we know and we are trying to rectify. But having said that, uploading your data on the dashboard is not related to ATL Marathon. They are separate, and ATL dashboard tells us how a school is active in their monthly activities in the ATL. However, marathon is a competition and is completely different. So you can still participate in marathon even if you're not being able to log into the ATL dashboard. I got a question from a student asking that he or she has other ideas and other kinds of ideas related to problems which are not in our problem statement list. So this marathon has a particular theme and there are 10 problem statements associated to it. We would request you to choose one of these 10 or more of these 10. However, if you do have ideas, I'm sure you can link them somehow to these one of these 10 problem statements, because these are very broad and are linked to the Sustainable Development Goals. So if you have an idea and can at least link it to any one of these problem statements, please feel free to submit your ideas. I also got a question on whether if your idea is completely unrelated to one of our partners who offer internships, which is our student internship program, SIP, can you still submit? So I would like to tell you that student internship program is open to all the winners who come up through the ATL Marathon. And whatever idea you submit, it's not like we choose that idea depending on whether that is related to one of our partners offering it. Your idea will still be chosen if it is good and meets the certain criteria, and you will be associated to one of our partners who will take up where you will be a part of the internship program. And through the internship, you'll get to learn a lot of skills which that partner will be excelling in. That the skill sets could be in terms of developing your marketing skills, your business skills, or taking your prototype to a next level. So all these would be available to you. So please don't worry about the student internship program. It will be available to all the winners. I have also got a few questions on mentors of change and whether your school has associated mentors of change from Atal Innovation Mission. So for this, I would like to highlight that almost 4,600 ATLs of ours across the country have associated mentors of change with them. And if you don't know who your mentor is, we will be sending out emails again to all the schools, giving details of your mentors so that you have easy access. If you still don't know who your mentor is, I would request you to raise a query on the portal and we can make that information available to everyone. We got questions on how can I participate in the student internship program. As I said, student internship program is open and will be available to the top teams of the ATL Marathon. And there are some incredible opportunities that are available apart from student internship program. The top teams from SIP also go ahead to the SEP, which is Student Entrepreneurship Program. Here, it's a 11-month long program where we take your product to the next stage. We help you with patenting. We also, if the product is ready, help you take it to market and launch your product to the masses. So there are some incredible opportunities available, and I would just urge all of you not to miss out on these opportunities and apply and participate in the marathon. I also got a couple of questions on, can students make apps and games to as a solution for any of the problems linked to the marathon? So yes, you can make apps and games and any other digital prototypes that you are comfortable with and you think solves the problem. I will let Ronak take up this question and more such questions on ideation and what are the things you can make given these problem statements in the later half of the YouTube live. So right now, these are the general category questions I had, and I will hand it over to my colleague Naba, who will walk you through how you can submit your ideas and a little bit more about the submission platform and the portal. If you have any more questions on the general category, so please feel free to type those out in the comment section and we will take it up in the end. Thank you so much, and Naba, over to you.
Thank you, Swati. So yes, we have a couple of questions regarding the submission and the related details for the application form. So one of the question was, what is the maximum size of video of the project to be uploaded, as well as the maximum size of the write-up? So the video should be of maximum 3 minutes, and all the team members of the team submitting the solution should be part of the video. The application link of the Marathon 2020 requires the link of the video, which can be any video uploaded online, such as any platform, YouTube or Google Drive, as per your ease, and just submit the video link in the application form. The video should give a 360-degree view of the current working prototype of or the solution that you are submitting. The participants should speak about the functionalities and the salient features of the solution, the on-ground testing and the implementation, and the complete journey that they have gone through to reach the final stage of the solution. The team should also talk about the role of each team member, as well as the involvement of community and local mentors or institutions and the industries involved, and their feedback, if any. And if we talk about the size of the write-up or the research document, then the file size should be of maximum 5 MB. The next question that we have is, do we have to present our idea or only the blueprint of the solution to explain the solution of the problem statements? So yes, you have to submit the video link as well as the research or write-up document of the working prototype of your solution. The solution or innovation can be a physical entity or an online solution or platform, like Swati earlier mentioned. The marathon research document can be a document file, PDF file, or PPT slides, which should describe the research conducted by your team for the solution, the overall structure, the flow, the features, and the implementations details of this solution that you're submitting. The next question that we have is, do we have to submit the mentor details on the form? So like Swati had already taken up this question, I will just reiterate that if you have a mentor of change associated with the ATL at your school that has been appointed by ATL Innovation Mission, then fill the details of the associated MOC in the submission form. The next question is, do we have to include community feedback in the video presentation? So involvement of community or local mentors or the institutions, or if the support has been leveraged from any of the industries, then their role and the solution generation stage and their feedback of the final prototype that you're submitting should be covered in the video that you submit. The next question is, do we have to answer only those questions which are given by you, or can we answer some of our local problems? So for the ATL Marathon 2020, we have shortlisted the 10 problem statements that have been shortlisted based on the voting phase of the Marathon 2020. So each team can identify the community problems of their choice and develop innovative solutions in the form of working prototypes. See how that problem or the challenge identified by your team aligns with one of the 10 problem statements of the ATL Marathon 2020, and then submit your applications. The next question is how to prepare the survey form. So yes, survey can definitely be conducted for your topic or the solution that you're proposing, although it is not mandatory. The survey comes between the research and the ideation phase of the innovation and prototype generation. So it involves a research conducted by your team to get a good understanding of the topic and the problem statement selected by the team and how you have reached the solution. So the survey document and the overall research document should contain and involve that. The next question was, is an app necessary for the solution of the problem? And also, if one has made an app, then how to submit it? So to answer the first part of this question is, no, app is not mandatory. You can submit the video link of a physical prototype as well. The solution can be an online solution or a physical prototype. And if you, the next part of the question is, one has to, if one has made an app, then how to submit it? The video for the online solution or the app should give a complete walkthrough of the online app or the platform, and the team should talk about its functionalities and the features and how it will address the problem that you have identified in the community. And the next question that we have is, actually the last in this section, is how can we record our video as we can't meet our teammates due to the pandemic situation? So due to the pandemic, we all know that the team members cannot physically meet, but all the team members can record their part of the video separately at their homes after obviously discussing amongst yourselves, divide the video contents and the points, and then collate and submit the final video in the application form. Now I hand over it to Ronak, who will take up the ideation and the prototype related questions.
Before Ronak, you begin, there are a couple of questions on the comments that I see about the deadline, and I should have taken it up, but let me just clarify here that currently the deadline of submission is 28th of February, but we do understand some states have their exams in this month, and therefore we are working on extending the deadline, but right now I cannot commit to it. And for now, you should take the deadline as 28th of February. If there is a change, we will let you know well in advance so that you have more time. But for now, the deadline is 28th of February. Ronak, you can go ahead. There are a couple of questions I see on how to make an app, and so you can probably take those up as well.
Thank you so much, Swati and Abha, for your thoughts and responses to the various questions and queries that the students and the teachers have for the ATL Marathon 2020. My name is Donna Jogeshwar and I'm from Atal Innovation Mission Niti Ayog. I welcome all the students who have joined in today for this particular YouTube live session. There are a few important aspects that the students have asked about, which are mainly around ideation, prototyping, and so on. Some of the questions are very specific when it comes to using a particular resource or application or a software. Please let me tell you that you can use any virtual or physical tool or technology which is available at your disposal. It is just not limited to the resources which are available at the Atal Tinkering Lab or which are available under the ATL curriculum section. Some of the questions ask me that, are they allowed to submit their solution in a specific app or a format or in a particular software? We are open to that. However, we will request for a video submission through your YouTube channel on a YouTube video, which should be unlisted and open. Some of the problem statements are conceptual and may or may not have a physical product. For those, you can always create a virtual prototype to which you can create a video repository and submit it across. There are some more questions about prototyping, ideation, and design as well, which I'll take up with all of you with a short PPT that I have created. Please allow me a moment. I hope the screen is visible and I'm audible for all of you. When we talk about the ATL Marathon, we always think of creating a community problem, a solution to a community problem statement. Our focus is always to understand the need of our nearby community and create a relevant solution around it. This year, we have taken inspiration from the Atmanirbhar Bharat problem statements and are asking all the students to share and I'm asking all the students to work on the 10 marathon pillars which have been voted by all of you. These problem statements are from economy, infrastructure, system, demography, and demand. The problem statements are here for your reference. In economy, you have two problem statements where you are trying to provide equal opportunity, skill development, and encourage participation of women in local businesses, and innovate to increase the productivity, manage scale, speed, and sustainability in agriculture to benefit farmers. Now, what kind of innovations you can create in these under these problem statements or marathon pillars has been one of the most popular questions by some of the students, and they asked us whether if they can we can shed some light on some of the ideas that are coming to our mind when we think of these kind of problem statements. So let's talk about economy. I think I can create an app around it which helps employability of women in local businesses. I can create an operations management system, or I can create a supply chain system in agri-tech to benefit farmers. I can create an online repository of warehousing tools for the farmers for the farmers to store and manage the agricultural yield. So these are some of the thoughts that I can think of right now. It's open to your interpretation and imagination as well. In infrastructure, we have two problem statements: innovate to develop solutions to transform villages and towns to make them hybrid and smart; innovate to reduce carbon footprint by using renewable energy, such as electric vehicles, solar energy, and so on. When I think of infrastructure, it's always important to have great infrastructure around you. Considering India is such a vast country, we do have some of these challenges across our communities as well, and it is not just in villages. These problems are also in cities. So how we can make them more efficient using the current and 21st century technology tools? I can think of using maybe a motion detector in villages to do a particular task automatically, which requires some human intervention. And I can always use an energy sensor or a heat sensor to determine the number of people in a particular room and manage the temperature or the airflow in that particular room, so that I can save some energy when I talk about reducing carbon footprint. So these are some of the thoughts that are coming to my mind at this particular point of time. Next, we have system. Okay, when we talk about system, we are talking about the current administrative, healthcare, and structural systems in place. For example, innovate to develop an effective and integrated healthcare system, and improve systems in rural areas using technology tools to bridge connectivity. We all know that we still have a lot of ground to cover when it comes to internet connectivity across the country. How you can actually think of solving this particular problem can be one of your approaches, where you enable rural areas with more technological connectivity. And how can you manage the current healthcare system, the logistics of the current healthcare system in a better manner? And this is a very relevant point right now, since we are at the middle of a pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and we have recently started deployment of the vaccines to various parts of the country. So one particular idea that I have when I think of system is, how can I make the deployment of COVID-19 vaccines, a quick, easy, hassle-free, and an effective method? So you can think of those ideas. Next, you go to demography. The demographic dividend of India is at the highest at this particular point of time. This also gives us the responsibility of ensuring that each one of us is employed and are doing and contributing their bit to the GDP of our country. So innovate to bring down unemployment in India is something which is extremely, extremely important. When I think of this particular problem statement, I think of creating a matchmaking or a connecting mechanism for an employee and an employer. In demography, in the second one, if you think about innovator system to promote access to technology, skill development, employment opportunities for the backward states and sections of the society, I I think of maybe developing an online ICT or technical training a tool which will help these these students or aspirants to understand and learn the skills which are required in an industry. For example, if I think if I'm a mechanical engineer and I was trained in the lathe machine when I was in the first year of engineering, so you can actually so it's extremely important for any of the machine operators to understand what a lathe machine is and to operate what a lathe machine is. Maybe you can develop something similar. Maybe you can develop an online module which teaches you how to create a lathe machine. These are some of my ideas which I'm sharing with you. Again, I would just like to repeat that this is open for your interpretation and understanding as well. Finally, we have demand. Demand talks about innovate to improve ease of doing business for small businesses and implement a solution to mitigate the price fluctuations and manage demand and supply in the market. Understand the fact that there's always a tussle between demand and supply, and the beauty of this particular industry is that the more efficient you are, the more profit and the more business you get out of this particular initiative. For example, if an organization, again, let's take the example of COVID-19 pandemic, if organization A is able to produce and deploy their resources, and let's say they are producing face masks in a more effective manner than organization B, they tend to be more successful and they will definitely try to do more business. They will definitely do more business than the other one. Okay, so how you can actually ensure, enable, help ease of doing business for small businesses? It might be with respect to procurement of raw materials. It might be with respect to logistics. It might be respect to training of the on-ground workers as well. So it can be anything, and I think many of our students do have people in their families who are working with small businesses and also in production facilities. Talk to them, go to the community, try to understand what they are working on and what kind of resources or help they acquire. And this particular problem statement was also relevant for the second part of demand, which is mitigate the price fluctuation and manage demand and supply in the market. Okay, if there's a good balance between demand and supply, it will always there will not be any unpleasant or unpredictable price fluctuations. So again, go to the market, go to various MSMEs around you, and interview your community, interview the people in the organization, the managers, the operational people, and try to understand what kind of challenges that they are facing, so that you would be able to create a relevant and better prototype for your ATL marathon. And not just for the ATL marathon. If you have a great idea, this idea can be converted to a actual startup, which you should always target for. How do One of the major questions that the students have asked, that how do they approach people around their communities, and how do they actually find their problem statement? So there is a pretty beautiful process called the design thinking process, which talks about how we can actually understand a particular problem statement and create solutions around it. I thought that many of your questions were related to this particular process, so I will just take a moment to explain some of the ideas of the design thinking process. The design thinking has 5 steps: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. First of all, what is empathize? As I have shared a minute ago, that you need to go to the community, you need to go to the end user and understand what that particular problem statement is. So it's always good to talk to a lot of people, try to understand and that will help you to articulate and define your particular challenge statement that you would like to work for. When you empathize with your audience, when you empathize with the people around you, it can be your parents, it can be your teachers, it can be an industry, it can be the community people around you, anyone. Always remember these 3 important mantras: observe their behavior, notice their disconnect between what someone says and what someone does, engage with them, ask them deeper questions, ask them the why questions, and watch and listen. observe them, engage, and watch and listen. Okay, there are so many things that you don't even realize is a problem until and unless you actually physically do it. So engage with them as much as you can. Next, once you are done, you take all of your insights, go back to the drawing board with your team. You will have a team of 2 to 3 team members and also a teacher and likely a mentor of change as well. Okay. When you are defining your problem statement, which is very, very critical because this is your foundational stone to work for your submission or for your idea. You always identify the audience. You will talk to a lot of people, but you have to identify for whom you have to create a particular solution. Who is your target audience? And try to slowly scrap off or reveal their needs. Articulate all of your insights. It's always necessary to document what you are doing. So articulate the insights. Use all of these 3 learnings under the guidance of your ATL in charge and the mentor of change and create a point of view. And from that point of view, create a problem statement or define a problem statement. Almost all of you, and I'm pretty sure, have come across the word define in your question papers in your examinations. Define photosynthesis. They define define topology or define Pythagoras theorem. Okay, the definitions are clear, concise, and usually end in one sentence, and they do not change. So it is always good to have a clear definition of a problem statement, which is not more than 1 or 1.5 sentences or lines, and they stick with you till the end of your journey, to the end of your journey, that you are trying to solve this particular problem statement that you have defined. Once you have defined, you start ideating. And I'm pretty sure that all of you can ideate in a much better fashion than I can, or any one of us can. Okay, you are the most imaginative people that we have come across. So I don't really need to tell you how to ideate. Okay, you will go talk to a lot of people, try to think a solution around it, uh, have healthy arguments with each other as peers, and create some interesting, fun, and sometimes offbeat solutions as well, which nobody must have thought of. And it's always good to think out of the box, literally. Once you have ideated, you can now start with the prototype. You have a plethora of tools available right now. One thing that has helped all of us, including the AIM team as well in the past 1 year, we have been inspired by the kind of ideas that you students have been giving us. And we have been trying our level best to create as many modules as we can so that we could feed your innovative spirit. Okay. In the past 1 year, we have created a lot of online content through Thinker from Home and a lot of offline content which is already available in the ATL Tinkering Lab. Considering that we are slowly and steadily opening up, I'm pretty sure that you would be able to go to your ATL lab and use the various IoT sensors, actuators, 3D printers. I'm pretty sure 3D printer is your favorite, robotic tools, and so on, and add value to your prototype. However, if you're not able to do so, you can always go back to the online world. We have so many modules for you for your disposal. For example, there was one particular student who asked a question that, sir, I would like to create a prototype, which is an app, but I don't know how to code or I don't know how to create an app. How can I do this? You don't need to worry about that. We already have a completely free and a multilingual course for you on our ATL curriculum page, which is the ATL app development module. If you want to create an AI based solution, we do have the AI based and step up modules for your disposal as well. Next is that if you want to create some games, some interesting games, you can always do that as well. And by designing games, you will also get a chance to code. We have the gaming module for that as well. And if you want to do some Python coding, We do have the Python module as well. And let me tell you, all of these courses are available in multi languages and are available completely for free for your use and disposal. We are not limiting you to just use the modules which are available on the AIM website. You can use any module, any software, any technology to create your prototype. You just need to make sure that you make the prototype with the user in your mind, because your end user will be the person who will be actually using and benefiting from your prototype. You also need to identify what exactly are you testing. Obviously you'll be testing your whole prototype, but there are so many aspects to your prototype. When you talk about, there might be a presentation which you would like to test how it is being well received, whether it is being well received from your audience or not. You would like to check the app, whether the UI UX of that app is good or not, or you might have to check the physical prototype, whether it actually works in the physical world or not. So identify what element of your prototype is being tested. Don't spend too long. And I'm pretty sure this is quite counterintuitive for me to say that don't spend too long, because you really need to fail fast and move on. Okay. Try to do as much as experimentation as you can and be quick. Okay. You will definitely not reach your final prototype in your first attempt. So don't spend too much of money and start and try doing different things as much as you can. Don't wait for the deadline. Don't procrastinate, because when you procrastinate you also lose out on time, and then you will think in retrospect that, oh, I could have done this better if I would have used those 2 days, 2 more days, or maybe a week more. So start thinking about your ideas, start thinking about the solution, and start bumping around with each other to create the best prototype that you can build. And don't wait for anyone, just start building. We will always have the challenges. We will always have the challenges of not meeting each other. We will always have the challenges of not being in close proximity with each other. But you, all of you, are connected with each other through online and offline means. So start building something, start writing something, and start bouncing off ideas with each other. Now, the last and I think the most important thing is test. This is where you really need to identify and you really need to reflect upon your previous 4 steps. You always go back and ask users to compare. Okay. With that, you can cement your understanding of your problem statement. And if you need to slightly modify your problem statement, you can do that as well. Understand how it is being used, how your particular prototype or innovation is being used by the end user. And you need to really observe that whether the end user is using your prototype in the desired way or not, which you actually envisaged it to be. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the times you will observe that this is not the way that they would be using it. So it's pretty important to understand that particular aspect as well. And don't just tell, show it, demonstrate it. It is always great to experience things rather than just to listen to things. Okay, it is always great to uh, be in the moment and do actionable work. It is always great to do that. So show them and just don't tell them, because then they will learn from your actions and create great experiences. It's always important to create a fun, holistic experience within yourself, your peers, your parents, mentors, teachers, community, and the people that you interview and interact with. Stay positive. You will do a great work. And just think about what kind of experiences that you would like to create for these students. There are many questions around testing part as well. Who do you want to test with? How you can go ahead and test? What are the things that you need to take care of when you are going out for testing your prototype? Obviously, when you are going out to testing your prototype, ensure that you are always in a safe environment, okay, in a controlled environment. It is and when you ask me that whom should you test with? It is always good to go back to the people who have helped you with your definition of your problem statement when you doing your empathize phase. Go back to them and tell them that I have made this. Can you just quickly try this out for 10 minutes or 15 minutes if it's a physical product, or maybe check this app out and give us your feedback. With that, it becomes really easy for all of the students and the teachers because you already know the person and they have given you some ideas as well. There are some questions about prototype development which I'll be taking up. There's one specific question from one of the students which talks about the preparation of ideas into real working model need times for submission, and how can you actually cope up with that. So as I've shared, you start early, you start identifying your problem statement and start working towards something, because by the time the deadline comes you will at least have one prototype which would be in the state of that, in the state in which you would be able to submit it. uh, One of the questions that the students have also had is, should we make a working model of our idea? Because I'm not perfect in programming and I need, and to make a working model it would be difficult for me as I don't know programming. So don't worry about it. We have some of the modules already in place and there are so many online resources which will require very basic understanding of how to use a computer, and you will be able to code yourself as well. So please go ahead and check those resources out. One more question that about idea has been asked about ideation is, can we conduct a survey regarding our topic? Why not? Surveys are one of the most impactful activities for any kind of research work. You will be able to reach as many people as you can, various masses as well. You can reach out to your local school people, your city, your zilla, your state, or you can even go global with online surveys. There are so many online survey tools available online for your disposal. You can use those as well. There's one more question that they would like to know about the prototype, and are the students supposed to create a physical prototype? And since because of the current scenario that would not be possible. So as my colleague Naba has shared that you can submit a physical or a virtual both kind of prototype. So go ahead with doing that. One more thing which is about research is how to make a research document. Can you provide a sample research document for marathon? There are so many research documents available in the online world for your reference. However, as my colleague Nava has shared, your document can have up to 2 pages, and there has to be some important elements of your research document in place. Some of them are around the people that you interview with, the people that you interact with. Some of them are around what kind of solution that we are submitting. So, some of them are around how your particular solution is unique and has some intellectual property benefits to it as well. Okay. One more question, which is very related to the earlier question. What should be the contents of the research document? As I have shared, the various contents of the research document I've shared already, and moreover, the guideline, the ATL Marathon guideline document is already available on the website for your kind perusal as well. One interesting question that one of the students have asked is, what should be in the video? You have approximately 3 minutes to 3.5 minutes. I would call it 200 seconds. Within that 200 seconds, you are supposed to narrate the whole story of your innovation. So it should definitely start with why, like what are you building and why are you building? Okay, who have you interviewed? Who have you interact with? How you have identified your problem statement? What exactly was your prototype journey, and what impact it will create towards for the larger benefit of the community. Okay, so if you're able to build this larger story, I think we are home, and it's fairly easy if you have done all the 5 steps in the correct manner. You can do survey for the topics that you choose. you can create a problem statement and a solution statement from them as well. The survey comes between the research and ideation phase of the innovation, and it will help you to have a good grasp and understanding of the solution that you are trying to develop. Okay, Swati, do we have any questions from on YouTube?
Thanks, Ronak. Yes, the video duration questions have been coming repeatedly. So the duration is 3 minutes. And if you have missed out on any of what we have discussed so far, we will be sharing the whole FAQ sheet on all the WhatsApp groups. So please ask your ATL in charges to share that with you when it is available with them. Apart from that, I also had a question on ideation and whether you to submit a prototype. So last time we had the marathon where ideation phase was separate and prototype phase was separate. However, this time everything is in one phase, and we expect all the submissions, including research, ideation, and prototype, to be submitted within this phase and this deadline. So that is something that I want to clarify. If during COVID you're not able to access you're not able to do a survey, you're not able to go and meet people, then I would suggest that there are a lot of avenues where you can do a survey. You have, I'm sure, a group of friends whom you're connected with on WhatsApp. You have your relatives, your family friends, your neighbors. So why don't you send them a message? Why don't you pick up the phone and call them? And there are a lot of ways to do surveys. But survey is a primary research part of the whole research that you're supposed to do. If you're not able to do primary research, where you have to speak to people, you can also do secondary research, wherein you read about the topic. Make sure your understanding of the problem is good. And that is why we're asking you to do research. Before you innovate, you need to understand what the problem is. You can read about it online. You can take up books. You can read about the topic through books or on the internet. And that is how you can still submit your research. Uh, Anything else that we have missed out on, you can always write to us on the query portal, and we will also be sharing all these answers through the FAQ sheet. Ronak, if you're there, we're getting a couple of questions on what can be done uses for healthcare and the
Yes.
healthcare problems. So if you
Yes.
would like to take that up.
Uh, okay. Okay. So to create some of the healthcare projects that we have around, um, uh, I let me just think over this. Some of the products that we can create is right now at this particular point of time. There's a lot of research happening between uh, for for stopping the spread of COVID-19 virus, and face mask is one of the aspects. Face mask is one of the things that uh, has been very popular, and there has been a lot of research around alternate materials, organic materials for face masks. So you can do some research on that, because a lot of the Indian households, communities, local places, villages have their own way and a style of creating fabrics. Okay, and a lot of the fabrics have some medicinal aspects as well. So you can actually think of creating something like that. One thing that can is coming to my mind. Secondly, obviously, there is something which is very important for all of us, is self hygiene. Still we have a lot of hygiene related issues in the country, and the awareness for hygiene, and also the having a best practice for hygiene is extremely important as well. So how can you actually address that? What kinds of tools can you use or leverage, so that the hygiene part of all of us is on par? That's what I can think of right now. Again, in healthcare, I do think which is also connected with the ATL Marathon theme as well, which is supply chain management, largely infrastructure, is like the storage and deployment of not just COVID vaccines, but other vaccines, other medicines, and even blood as well, blood or plasma as well. Okay, one more thing that we have actually um, understood during this pandemic is that the plasma transfer is pretty critical to ensure that we are able to fight effectively with the COVID-19 virus. So how can you effectively store and transport plasma is something can be something which can be a problem statement in healthcare domain as well. So these are some of the many, I would say, infinitely many problem statements and solutions that are available, and you guys, all the boys and girls that we have in this YouTube live have are the most imaginative human beings right now, and you are at your most imaginative age as well. Childhood and adolescence, it is that phase of life where you can imagine as many ideas and solutions around it. So we would definitely like to encourage you to think over that and share those with all of us as well. Finally, I would like to just skim through the ATL website, the AIM website, to just explain you how you can participate in the ATL marathon. There has been many questions around that. So it's a very simple process. You just have to go to the AIM website, which is aim.gov.in. You will see a banner, ATL 20 Marathon 2020 is now live. Just click on the banner. Once you click on the banner, you will have the link here, and you can see all the relevant problem statements that we have shared, the 10 problem statements in the five Atmanirbhar Bharat pillars: economy, infrastructure, system, demography, and demand here by clicking here. And all the terms and conditions for the ATL Marathon 2020 are mentioned here. Please note that the last date to submit entries for the ATL Marathon 2020 is 28th February 2021. Once you read all the terms and conditions, you can just click on apply here. The form is for your kind disposal and perusal. You just have to check whether your school is an ATL, yes or no, enter the relevant details, okay, primary contact, alternate contact numbers. Make sure that these emails and contact numbers are correct, because these are the only mechanism that we would be able to reach you. So please do not make any spell errors in this particular section. Team details, definitely give your name a team. So definitely give a name to your team, and just mention your team size, 2 or 3 students. The ATL in charge is also an integral part of your team, so please do add their details as well. And the mentor of change, if you have them, you can add their details as well. About your entry submission, you select your theme, problem statement, you give an innovation title, and please be as imaginative as you can to give your innovation title. Make it a 2 or 3 word innovation title if that is okay with you. And then you give some technical details about your innovation. Okay, some textbook responses. You definitely submit your research document and a YouTube video. Please note that a YouTube video has to be unlisted, and also it has to be open for our review at all particular point of time. Please don't make it private. And then just submit your innovation to all of us. You are requested to note that for each unique application, you have to submit a unique document and a unique video. Plagiarism will not be tolerated and duplicate entries will be disqualified. However, if you think that you have created a better prototype towards the end of the deadline, and if you have already submitted your innovation to us, just mention that, and your recent entry will be taken for consideration. With that, I
Thank,
hand it over to my colleagues Swati
yeah,
and Madhuri for further
thanks.
points.
Thanks, Ronak. So I did get a couple of relevant questions on the YouTube comments. One is if you have taken interviews on phone or WhatsApp, how can you put that as a part of your research? So you will get a lot of responses. You will have a survey form which you will share with your colleagues or anyone you're sharing it with. Take down the responses, put it on a Word document that 70% of the people, for example, voted for A, 30% voted for B, and this is how I assume that the problem, this is the definition of the problem, and which is why I would like to solve it in this way. So, what you have to do is collate all the answers that you get on your surveys, put it in a Word document, and share that with us as to what your analysis has been using the answers that you got. Another thing I would like to clarify here, punctuation marks, a lot of you are saying are not allowed, but they are allowed. I know you're getting a small error message in red saying that punctuation is not allowed in your answers, but that is not true. When you actually go to click on submit, it will accept all your punctuation and all your answers. We are working on removing that error message. You can put full stops and any kinds of punctuation marks in your answers. So please don't worry about that. You will be able to submit your answers. Having said that, I think we have covered a lot of the questions. Finally, we're just getting a few on how many projects can be submitted by one group. You can submit as many projects as you want. Make sure there are different entries for each of the projects. So thank you so much for joining us today in this YouTube Live. We enjoyed making sure that all your answers are covered, all your questions are covered, and we'll make sure that all these answers are displayed to all of you after this YouTube Live through WhatsApp groups. Please participate in Marathon. Request all teachers and mentors to help students submit their best ideas and innovations through this marathon. We're looking forward to your entries, and we look forward to the top teams going ahead in the journey of innovation. And having said that, I want each of you and your state, whichever state you belong to encourage your fellow students and teachers to participate. Take your state to the top of the rankings this time, and we hope to evaluate all your entries and lots of good ideas soon. So thank you so much for joining us today and have a great weekend. Thank you.